A Southwest Iowa farm boy who became a 4-decade-long educator is now leading budget plans in the Iowa House. Hear what role Gary Moore thinks that federal stimulus money will play in a top priority for the governor, and why he says he wanted more money for prisons even before that inmate attack in Anamosa that killed 2 employees. Plus beef, how one industry leader describes how big a deal it is with that expansion in an Iowa community. And in the Insider's Quick 6, how do you like your steak?
From your local election headquarters, this is the Insiders with Dave Price.
Inside Iowa this morning, billions of your tax dollars. The state budget's about $8 billion a year, and Congress has sent an extra $6 billion in COVID-19 stimulus and recovery money. I asked House Budget Chair Gary Moore how this federal dollar infusion will impact the budget planning.
There's a provision in the new federal legislation that no state can cut taxes either directly or indirectly while receiving this money. Well, that may seem clear on its surface, but we feel we need to make sure we understand exactly what the federal government means by that. And I got to tell you, in the last week, we've gotten 3 different answers to that question from the federal government. So we are going to be very cautious as we move forward. We need to understand those federal dollars and the rules that are attached to them before we appropriate and build a state budget. But that's what takes time. And we just feel we need to be very conservative and very cautious as we work through the federal money and building a budget for the state of Iowa with state dollars. What's happening now is the federal government is ramping up the dollars, increasing the amount of money they're giving us. We just need to make sure we understand Congress's intent and that we follow the rules for that, so we know where to supplement those dollars with state budget and state dollars. We don't want to double fund, and we don't want to not fund programs that are important to Iowans for services. So that's why we're taking our time to make sure we understand particularly the rules of the federal money. And also we were waiting for the REC numbers so we could have a better projection on state revenues. But we're very cautiously optimistic about state budgets or state revenues. We're no different than every other Iowan. This past year has been very traumatic. And we look at the future. People are going back to work. But we're very cautious in how we build our budgets, just like people of Iowa are cautious about their budgets. We don't know what's around the corner, but the people can be very assured we're going to be very conservative and make sure that they don't have to worry about the solvency of the state of Iowa.
Governor Reynolds has wanted $450 million over the next 3 years for broadband expansion so you can get high-speed internet to all parts of our state. Can it be as simple as this? Can she use this latest federal stream of money and fund this through this so that you don't have to allocate state dollars to help her get what she wants here? Is it that simple or not?
No, it's not that simple, Dave. You'd think it would be, but here's what's happening with that right now. Yes, the governor has made broadband a high priority for Iowans, and we in the House, I think the House and Senate agree with her that Iowa needs to make a major investment into broadband. If Iowa is going to be competitive nationally and internationally, we've got to hook up internet access for virtually all Iowans. And the governor's right. We need to make that a high priority. And the House Republicans will make that a high priority. You're right that there's language in the federal bill that we think allows us to use some of those dollars, federal dollars, for broadband. But as I indicated a few minutes ago, we can't just assume that that's correct. If you remember, the governor last year had been told by the feds that we could use some of those dollars for the Workday computer system. And then later the federal government backtracked on that and said, oh no, you can't do that. I'm back to my point. We are very cautious. We want to make sure we understand how much or how those federal dollars can be spent and truly whether those dollars can be spent for broadband or not. The worst thing we could do is to spend tens of millions of dollars of federal, assuming federal dollars would be used, and get halfway into that and find out, no, they can't be used. It's very difficult at that time to backtrack and backfill with state dollars. So we want this all laid out in our minds very clearly up front, but we do agree with the governor. Broadband will be a priority. We will invest substantially in broadband. We're just not sure yet of the amount and whether it will be federal dollars, state dollars, or a combination of both.
The governor's proposed a $400 million increase in the budget for next year. Republican senators have proposed about half of that, but could add more, they say, to accommodate some of what the governor wants. Moore thinks the House will be pretty close in line with what the Senate wants here when the House releases the budget in the next couple of days. Now, there's more focus on the budget for the Department of Corrections. Investigators say that 2 inmates at the Anamosa State Penitentiary wanted to escape from there, and on the way out killed a prison nurse and guard who tried to stop them. These 2 inmates now stand accused of murdering those employees and also trying to kill another inmate who tried to stop them. Republican Senate Majority Leader Jack Whitver says he decided the prisons needed $4 million more next year before these attacks happened. This past week, House Budget Chair Moore says he also is agreeing that prisons need more money next year.
We will be increasing our commitment to public safety. And that was our commitment long before the unfortunate situation at Anamosa. We believe we will increase resources for public safety simply because it's a priority for us and for the people of Iowa.
So is it underfunded at this point? Does Danny Homan from the state union has talked about it's been underfunded for years, and maybe that led to the atmosphere here, perhaps even. Is it underfunded?
Well, I wouldn't classify it as underfunded. I mean, people always say for their projects in government that we don't give them enough money. There's never enough money for people who want state or federal resources. Can never be enough in their minds. We have to take the resources we have, prioritize them, which we have done. We think our priorities are in line with the people of Iowa. And every year the legislature meets, and every year we tweak budgets. And my only comment is not that it's been underfunded, but yes, we do think we want to increase our resources for public safety, and you'll see that in our budget proposal when it comes out here in the next few days.
Also, the Republican Senate is talking about having the state take over mental health funding instead of having the counties doing it through property taxes. Moore said he'll listen to that idea, but hasn't agreed that this is the way that the House will get behind as a priority.
And I know I'm going to sound like a broken record here. Here's what's happening with mental health in Iowa. And yes, mental health is a priority for House Republicans. Mental health, we believe, is a priority for the people of Iowa, particularly after the past year coming through this pandemic. But as I look at this from an appropriator standpoint, we currently spend $850 million on mental health in this state. In this new federal money, I saw a line in there that the feds are going to be increasing their commitment to mental health in Iowa to the tune of an additional $22 million. So once again, the devil's in the details. Before we make decisions or final decisions on what we're going to do, I think we need to make sure we're comfortable with how the current $850 million is being spent, and how the rules of that additional $22 million of federal money. We don't want to just throw money at a problem. We want to make sure it's being used efficiently, it's getting results, accountability. The people of Iowa deserve that, and we will, if necessary, we will commit additional state resources or reallocate current resources because mental health will be a problem for House Republicans, because we know it's a problem for the people of Iowa. But my point is, we are spending a considerable amount of money to help mental health treatment. Now we just need to make sure we know how it's being spent, how we can improve it being spent, and where we need to beef it up or reallocate resources.
Iowa lawmakers required that their 2018 tax cut package included some triggers, so revenue growth had to hit at least 4% so that the state would have enough money coming in to cover the lost money from those tax cuts. They didn't want to do what happened with Kansas Republicans. They had big tax cuts there, no triggers in there. Then they ended up having to make emergency spending cuts when they couldn't pay the bills.
Those checks will.
Revenue Estimating Conference forecast a 3.8% growth for the coming year. Both the governor and Senate Republicans say that's close enough to 4% here, so it's time to get rid of the triggers so these tax cuts can happen in 2022. House Republicans, though, aren't so sure yet.
We put them in there for a reason. And if we can meet those goals or come close to meeting those goals and have a strong economy and strong fiscal management, which we think we have right now, we're open to discussing it. But we're not interested in just throwing them out willy-nilly because we remember why we put them in there, and we think we need to be very cautious about changing those rules just to protect the people of Iowa. We feel very good about, as I started today with our conversation, the strong financial position the state of Iowa is in. That's taken a lot of hard work. It's taken a lot of saying no to people and who want to grow government and spend more money, but it's the right thing to do for the people of Iowa. We're going to continue down that road over this year and the next few years, but we'll look at all options because we do want to help Iowa continue to grow.
Coming up, why one Iowa cattle leader is sizzling with optimism.